Arctic air is heading towards the United Kingdom, the models are showing increasing agreement, and the pattern developing over the next 10 days could bring significant winter weather to many areas that haven't seen proper cold this season. I've examined the latest model runs from the Met Office, ECMWF, and GFS. And whilst there are still some differences in timing and intensity, the overall signal is becoming clearer. An area of high pressure is building between Greenland and Scandinavia, that S going to redirect our usual westerly Atlantic flow into an easterly direction. Cold air from continental Europe will be drawn across the country. Right now, conditions across the United Kingdom couldn't be more different from region to region. Across the southwest, from Cornwall through Devon and into Somerset, you've been dealing with mild, damp weather. Temperatures running several degrees above average. Somerset saw flood warnings this morning. That unsettled Atlantic air has been sitting over the region. Wales has been wet. Heavy rainfall through the week. Some areas reporting near record totals for January. That changes dramatically starting this weekend. The Midlands have experienced rather quiet conditions. Temperatures hovering around 7 or 8 degrees. Grey skies, rather dull for those waiting for proper winter weather. That extended mild spell ends next week. Compare that to the Scottish Highlands. Temperatures dropped to -8 this morning in some glens. Bitterly cold with a sharp wind. That's the Arctic air we are going to be discussing. East Anglia has seen little in the way of winter weather so far this season. Many of you have been waiting for snow. You've gone several winters in some areas without decent coverage. This pattern shift has potential, but I am not going to make promises until we see how these systems develop. Looking at the immediate forecast, an area of low pressure moved in overnight. There is a wind warning in force for parts of West Wales and southwestern England. Gusts up to 65 miles per hour are possible. Some areas are still recovering from Storm Gerretti. We are expecting a few impacts from that. Eastern areas will see very little rain today. Some sunny spells through this afternoon, certainly a brighter day than yesterday. Warmer as well. Still fairly breezy though, with a southerly wind bringing relatively mild air. This evening stays dry across many eastern areas. Overnight, that band of rain pushes ever further northwards into parts of southwestern Scotland and Northern Ireland. Heavy rain at times, still fairly brisk winds and a lot of cloud around. A very limited frost once again. A little bit cooler than last night, but relatively frost-free for most. Wednesday brings the focus back to rain. Outbreaks of rain will continue to move up from the south through the day. Most of us can expect wet weather through Wednesday. It's particularly across eastern Scotland where rainfall totals will build up. Could see some snow as well, above 300 to 400 metres by Wednesday afternoon. There's a rain warning in force for these areas. Southeasterly winds bring the added risk of large waves. It's a fairly unusual direction for rainfall to come in from. Temperatures Wednesday around 8 or 9 degrees quite widely. Around average, if not slightly above. The rain continues across eastern areas of Scotland Wednesday evening. That rainfall warning runs from Wednesday all the way through until Friday at this stage. By the end of Friday, we could see as much as 120 millimetres of rain building up over the highest ground. With the added risk of snow, we re-expecting some disruption from the heavy rain as well as possibly some quite large waves. Now, Thursday into Friday brings very wet weather moving through the south and southwest. This could bring some stormy conditions, particularly for the south and southwest. However, that the transition period before the pattern changes. The trigger is an area of low pressure sliding southwards on the 20th and 21st of January. Heights building towards Scandinavia. This sets up areas of low pressure on a northwest to southeast line, which is unusual. As that low pressure slides southwards, higher pressure builds between Greenland and Scandinavia. The winds turn easterly for Scotland, and eventually easterly winds spread to all parts of England. By Sunday, all areas are looking quite cold. Expect wintry showers from the east. Now, this isn't a quite beast from the east levels. An area of low pressure slides through the south of the UK with cold air embedded within it. We could see snow on the northern edge. Plenty of wintry showers packing into eastern and southeastern regions, particularly in the north through northern Scotland. Could be seeing some quite heavy wintry showers. Cold air becomes trapped across all areas. The track of the jet stream is crucial here. The jet stream drops down into Spain, which carries low pressure systems further southwards. These systems weaken as they get pushed south, but they bring the potential for significant snow across central and southern areas where they track. The pattern then wraps cold air back in. There is a brief less cold interlude for a day or so, then higher pressure rebuilds to the northwest of the UK. The wind turns into a proper northeasterly direction, very cold. We are dragging in air from Western Europe by day 10 on these runs, looking blocked, cold, wintry, very snowy. This would bring snow just about anywhere. Areas of low pressure pushing up from the south, bringing constant wintry hazards. The ECMWF model has been less enthusiastic about cold patterns recently, but it is now showing similar developments. Low pressure moving in from the west, sliding southwards. Actually sliding further south than the GFS, which allows the cold air to arrive earlier. That blocking area of high pressure sits to the north. The wind backs into the southeast initially, then turns fully easterly as another area of low pressure slides southwards. High pressure remains to the northeast. Then we see low pressure systems continue to move in, sliding southwards, bringing continued cold and snowy events. Really cold air moving in from the east. Bitterly cold air by the end of this sequence. Looking at precipitation type, there are wintry risks for northern England and central southern Scotland around the 23rd of January. That area of low pressure, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, pushes south. The wind drags into an easterly direction. Rain, sleet, and snow showers with colder air filtering in from the east. Plenty of wintry showers for central and southern areas. Little weather fronts moving in from the south and southwest could bring associated wintry hazards. Hints of a snow event for areas south of the M4, even London potentially seeing some. That is quite unlikely, but it does happen sometimes with this pattern. More wintry risks throughout. Likely to be more widespread than current models show with those easterly winds. Little kinks in the isobars, small lows in the flow could help to form additional showers. The GFS ensemble data shows a definite trend colder. We around to slightly above average at the moment, but dropping significantly in the latter half of January. Are we setting up a bitterly cold end to January, possibly extending into the start of February? Average temperatures below -5 degrees Celsius is uncommon these days. It's not normal to see this. There are quite a few ensemble members getting down to very cold levels. -10 in some runs, nothing can be ruled out, of course. A return to mild Atlantic conditions can to be ruled out either, but at this stage, it looks very unlikely. With colder air, wintry hazards are obviously present. Looks quite likely we could see plenty of showers in the east and southeast, possibly into northeast Scotland and northern England. With an easterly wind and cold enough air, it will all be snow. We could see snow events from low pressure systems tracking through southern areas. Probably rain in the southwest initially, but if you are in the Midlands, central or southern England, likely to be snow if these systems move northwards as projected. The interest period is from around the 25th of January onwards through at least the end of the month. Models are showing increased consistency now. There have been significant model upgrades recently. The consensus is improving. However, snow cannot be forecast with reliability until around 3 days out, perhaps 2 days to be on the safe side. Then nowcasting for individual showers. Any snow predictions beyond that time frame are unreliable. The models show potential, but the details will change. For those in Scotland, you're already dealing with the worst of the cold. That continues and intensifies. Wintry showers will be frequent, particularly across the east coast and over higher ground. Snow accumulations will build, especially above 400 metres. Northern England and the Pennines, you are in the firing line for significant wintry weather. Easterly winds will drive showers inland. Areas facing east will see the heaviest snowfall. The Pennines could see substantial accumulations. For East Anglia and the east coast generally, this is your pattern. Easterly winds bring moisture off the North Sea. Cold enough air turns that into snow. Showers could be heavy at times. Where the wind is strong enough, these showers could drift as far west as Manchester. That is possible with this setup. The Midlands have had a particularly quiet winter so far. That changes with this pattern. Depending on the track of those southern low-pressure systems, you could see significant snowfall. The uncertainty is in the exact track and timing. And southern England, you don't see this pattern often. Most winters down there, Dante brings snow. When easterly patterns develop, that changes. The south coast could see wintry showers. If those low-pressure systems track through as suggested, areas south of the M4 could see snow. Even central London isn't immune with this pattern, though it remains less likely than further north. Wales has been wet recently. That wet weather continues Thursday into Friday, then the pattern shifts. The west typically sees less impact from easterly patterns, but you're not immune. Higher ground will certainly see snow. Lower levels could see wintry showers, particularly in the north. For Northern Ireland, you are slightly sheltered from the worst of easterly patterns, but not entirely. You will see wintry showers, particularly across County Down and County Antrim facing the North Sea. Western areas likely to stay drier. The southwest of England, Cornwall and Devon, you've enjoyed relatively pleasant conditions recently. Mild and fairly dry. That feels like a distant memory by Friday when the first significant system moves through. You will likely see rain initially with these southern systems, whilst areas further north and east see snow. Now, practical preparations. For those in northern areas and Scotland, you know this weather. You are equipped for it. Continue what you are doing. Keep grit supplies topped up. If you've got elderly neighbours, check on them. For southern areas and the Midlands where this is less common, some preparation is sensible. Check your vehicle has screen wash rated for low temperatures. Keep a torch, blanket and charged mobile in the car. If snow does arrive, avoid unnecessary travel. The roads need to be gritted as thoroughly as they are up north. That's not criticism, it is just reality. They don't maintain the same level of gritting equipment because it is not needed most winters. If you can work from home during the worst of this, that is advisable. Particularly Thursday and Friday for southern areas during that transitional system, then again from Sunday onwards when the proper cold arrives. Keep an eye on the forecast updates. This is still 7 to 10 days out for the main cold spell. The broad pattern is increasingly likely, but the details will change. Which areas see the most snow, exactly when it arrives, how long it lasts, all of that remains uncertain. The Met Office will issue warnings as we get closer. Pay attention to those. They are based on impact, not just on snow amounts. Even a few centimetres can cause significant disruption in areas not used to it. For those with health conditions affected by cold weather, take precautions now. Ensure you have adequate heating. Stock up on prescriptions. The temperature swings we've seen recently, one day 12 degrees, next day 3, then back up again, have left people poorly. Sinus trouble, headaches, general unwellness. Many of you have been experiencing that. This pattern brings sustained cold, which is actually easier on the body than constant fluctuations once you adjust to it. Check on elderly relatives and neighbours. They are more vulnerable to cold-related health issues. Make sure they have adequate heating and food supplies. Looking at historical context, this pattern has similarities to February 2018, the Beast from the East. Similar pressure setup with high pressure over Scandinavia and low pressure to the south. That event brought significant snow even to southern areas. However, this looks less extreme than that was. The Beast from the East saw temperatures down to -14 in places. Wind chill made it feel like -25. We're not looking at quite that severity based on current projections. The winter of 2010 also had a similar pattern in December. That brought the coldest December in over 100 years to parts of the UK. Sustained cold and snow. Many areas saw significant accumulations. Again, current projections don't quite match that severity, but the pattern is similar. You've seen worse than this is likely to be. The Great Storm of 87 had gusts over 100 miles per hour. The Burnsday Storm of 90 had 107 mile per hour gusts. This isn't that, but it's still a significant pattern shift that deserves attention and preparation. The models have been inconsistent recently. Some showing cold, then backing off, then showing cold again. That's typical at this range when patterns are transitioning. The increased agreement we are seeing now adds confidence, but it's not certainty. By Wednesday or Thursday of next week, we'll have much better clarity on exactly what is happening. Snow forecasts before then are speculative, the potential is there, the pattern is developing, but treating long-range snow forecasts as definite is a mistake. So, to summarise, wet and windy weather continues through Wednesday and Thursday, particularly affecting western areas and Scotland. Heavy rain warnings in force for eastern Scotland through Friday. Up to 120 millimetres possible over high ground. Thursday into Friday brings potentially stormy conditions for southern areas as that transitional low pressure system moves through. Then from Sunday onwards, the pattern shifts. Easterly winds develop. Cold air spreads from the north and east. Wintry showers become widespread, particularly affecting eastern areas. Low pressure systems tracking through southern areas could bring snow to central and southern England. The cold spell looks likely to persist through the end of January, possibly into early February. Confidence is growing, but details remain uncertain at this range. This is a developing situation. Keep checking forecasts. The Met Office will update as we get closer. If you are in eastern areas, enjoy the dry weather today whilst it lasts. For those in the west dealing with rain and wind, it continues for a few more days before the pattern changes. The next few days bring typical winter weather for the UK. Wet, windy, mild. Then something rather more interesting develops. Proper winter weather for many areas. How significant it becomes, we'll know better in